Before the Mushroom Kingdom, before Mario, Zelda, and Pikachu ruled the world, there was a tiny workshop in Kyoto, Japan. No screens, no pixels, just ink, tradition, and a dream. This was the birth of Nintendo. How did Nintendo go from paper cards to digital dreams? Welcome to INDUSTRIA, where we uncover the fascinating processes behind the manufacturing of items inside the factories. So grab your snacks and let's go. This is not just a story of a gaming company, but instead a story of a 134-year-old empire constructed upon fun, failure, and innovation. Fusajiro Yamauchi, a young craftsman from Kyoto, Japan, in the year 1889, opened a small business. Hanafuda, a traditional Japanese playing card made entirely by hand. These cards, adorned with flowers and folklore, were a favorite pastime in Japan, used for gambling and leisure alike. It was the birthplace of a company that would one day reshape global entertainment. But back then, Nintendo wasn't about pixels or power-ups. It was paper and patience. The name Nintendo is intriguingly mysterious and commonly believed to mean leave luck to heaven. Decades later in the 1960s, the company began experimenting with other businesses, including love hotels, instant rice, and vacuum cleaners, but all efforts were in vain. Failure didn't stop Nintendo. Instead, it fueled their evolution, and as a result, in 1977, it eventually found its true calling, and that was electronic games. In 1983, Nintendo introduced an intriguing-looking red and white box called the Famicom. 2 years later, in 1985, this red and white box landed in North America under a new name, the Nintendo Entertainment System. And suddenly, everything changed for Nintendo. The gamers community remembers the moment. The unmistakable gray box, the clunky cartridges you had to blow on, and the very first time Mario made his pixelated leap across the screen. A plumber-looking cartoon character with a mustache had just redefined what home entertainment could be. He wasn't just jumping on Goombas, but he was jumping into pop culture history. The Super Nintendo pushed graphics and sound to new heights. The Game Boy put an entire universe in your pocket. Then came the Wii, smashing records by bringing gaming to families, grandparents, and even retirement homes. And finally, the Nintendo Switch, a hybrid of handheld freedom and console power. But here's the real question. How are these magical machines built? Before heading toward Nintendo making, let's make a quick stop and talk about New 64 and GameCube. In 1996, Nintendo 64 was introduced. It was not just a new control, but a dimensional shift, introducing us into the 3D world. With 4 controller ports built in, your living room could instantly transform into a multi-layer war zone. The N64 sold 32.9 million units worldwide, and Super Mario 64 alone moved over 11 million copies, a record for 3D platforms at the time. Then, 6 years later, in 2001, Nintendo unveiled the GameCube, with a quirky carrying handle as if to say, "Bring the fun with you." GameCube's tiny optical discs could store up to 1.5 gigabytes each. It gave us one of the most beloved competitive games ever made, Super Smash Bros. Melee, still fought over in tournaments more than 2 decades later. The GameCube sold 21.7 million units, but despite lower sales, it built a cult following that refuses to fade. Then in 2006, Nintendo surprised the world again, this time with the Wii, a motion-controlled phenomenon that brought gaming to grandparents, families, and friends who had never picked up a controller before. But how are these consoles actually made? Let's pull back the curtain. Stick around, because we are about to show you how Nintendo is made. So, how do you turn plastic, metal, and silicon into something that can launch you into the kingdom of Hyrule or a Rainbow Road at 200cc? Welcome to Switch Factory. These are not your average factories. They are more like ecosystems that are hyper-efficient, temperature-controlled, and optimized for precision down to the nanosecond. Nintendo is physically assembled in high-tech production plants based in China and Vietnam, which are operated by tech giants like Foxconn and Hosiden. A Switch console contains over 1,000 individual components, and they all have to fit into a casing smaller than a paperback novel. Every Nintendo Switch begins its life as raw material: silicon for chips, copper for wiring, lithium for batteries, and ABS plastic for casings. These components are sourced globally from mines in South America to electronics labs in Taiwan and shipped in bulk to the factory floor. Every Nintendo Switch begins with its beating heart, the printed circuit board, or PCB. This intricate green slab is more than just a motherboard. It's the command center where all operations begin. Technicians, alongside robotic arms, delicately mount the custom NVIDIA Tegra X1 processor, RAM chips, flash storage, and wireless modules for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. The margin for error in building is less than 0.1 millimeters. The environment is hyper-controlled, filtered to remove even microscopic dust particles. Each component is tested in micro-voltage conditions, ensuring no static or signal interference. Now that we have the brain in place, it needs a reliable power source, the lithium-ion battery. The lithium-ion battery is built to last up to 9 hours on a single charge. It is not just about energy, but also about safety. Each battery includes multiple protection circuits that guard against overheating, overcharging, short-circuiting, and even thermal runaway that can cause a device to swell or, in rare cases, explode. But that's not all. To manage internal heat, a custom-designed heat sink connected to a microfan system is installed, which channels warm air through precision-placed copper vents, keeping the Switch cool during high-load gaming, whether you are racing in Mario Kart or exploring Tears of the Kingdom. Now we arrive at one of Nintendo's most ingenious inventions, the Joy-Con. These compact controllers may look simple, but each one is a marvel, packed with over 20 individual components. Inside the shell lies a network of gyroscopes and accelerometers, enabling motion control so precise it can track the tilt of your hand to a fraction of a degree. Each Joy-Con also houses a custom HD rumble motor, capable of simulating the feel of rolling dice, crunching snow, or even an ice cube bouncing in a glass. Before shipping, robotic arms press every button over 100,000 times to ensure durability even in the hands of the most intense gamers. The IR motion camera in the Joy-Con can detect the shape and distance of objects in front of it, while built-in NFC readers enable instant connection with amiibo figurines. Before a Nintendo Switch ever reaches your hands, it must first survive a brutal quality check. Over 40 rigorous quality control tests are designed to simulate the harshest real-world conditions. It starts with button responsiveness and joystick calibration, ensuring every movement is accurate down to milliseconds, followed by the drop tests, where consoles are released from various heights to mimic accidental slips from couches, backpacks, and even toddler tantrums. Fascinating, right? Next up is thermal chambers, where units are exposed to extreme temperatures, both hot and cold, to check performance in unpredictable environments. The display undergoes touchscreen sensitivity checks, while the audio and haptic systems are measured against vibration and frequency benchmarks. Even the wireless components, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and NFC, are scanned for interference across multiple frequency bands to guarantee a seamless gaming experience. If the Switch fails even one of these checkpoints, it is flagged, repaired, or removed entirely from circulation. After surviving the gauntlet of tests, the Nintendo Switch finally earns its badge of honor, the official Nintendo logo laser-etched with precision onto its casing. But now comes the final phase, turning tech into treasure. The Switch's components are carefully enclosed in a two-piece ABS plastic shell, injection molded for strength, lightweight balance, and that familiar satin-smooth finish. Now it's time to accessorize. Joy-Con controllers, charging cables, HDMI cords, instruction manuals, warranty slips, and of course the docking station. Every item is organized inside a specially engineered cardboard insert designed to resist humidity, pressure, and shock during long-haul shipping. Each box is weighed, sealed, and even X-rayed to detect any missing or misplaced parts, an added step of assurance that most companies skip. Finally, the units are shrink-wrapped, labeled, barcoded, and placed into shipping cartons. And within just hours, they are ready to travel halfway across the world. Because at Nintendo, the magic begins long before you ever press start. Once boxed and sealed, the Nintendo Switch embarks on its final journey from factory floor to your living room. Packed units are stacked into pallets, wrapped in industrial plastic, and loaded onto cargo containers. From here, they travel by sea, air, and land, crossing oceans on freighters, zipping across continents in cargo planes, and navigating highways on 18-wheel trucks. Nintendo's global supply chain operates like clockwork. Shipments head to distribution hubs in Japan, the US, Germany, the UK, Australia, and more. From these centers, the consoles are dispatched to retailers, wholesalers, and online fulfillment warehouses, often within 72 hours of arriving. In 2024, the company reported $11 billion in revenue, even during a slight sales slump, as the Switch entered its 8th year. But logistics are not just about speed, they are about precision. Inventory systems track every unit in real time, ensuring that high-demand regions never run dry, because when fans are counting down to release day, there's no room for delay. Wondering maybe just how big Nintendo is today? Let's talk numbers, because behind the pixels and power-ups lies an empire that has reshaped global entertainment. As of 2025, the Nintendo Switch has sold over 141 million units worldwide, officially making it the third best-selling console of all time. Its crown jewel? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has zoomed past a jaw-dropping 60 million copies sold, making it Nintendo's most successful game to date. In 2024 alone, Nintendo generated a staggering $12.5 billion, with profits driven not only by console sales, but also by licensing, digital game downloads, merchandise, and mobile apps. Behind all of this are over 7,000 employees working across Japan, the US, Europe, and more, each contributing to a legacy of imagination and innovation. And yet, the heartbeat of the company still lies in Kyoto, where it all began in a playing card workshop back in 1889. From one city in Japan to living rooms in over 100 countries, Nintendo's footprint is massive. Every Switch console you hold is the result of a global orchestra. Minerals mined across continents, circuits engineered with microscopic precision, and stories crafted to spark wonder in players of all ages. But what truly makes Nintendo special isn't just the technology, it's the emotion. The joy of discovery, the thrill of competition, the comfort of nostalgia. And there you go, how Nintendo is made. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Industria. And if you are interested in finding out how Topps baseball cards are made, then you must check out the video on the channel. And let us know in the comments what stuff we should dive into next.